This pair of high school BFFs would solve a major crime thanks to the selfie photo they took together. In February of 2015, 14-year-old Cassidy Nurse joins Zwanszeek High School, which is where she met 17-year-old Mishay Solomon. They both grew up in that area in Cape Town, South Africa, and despite being a few grades apart, they immediately bonded based on the similar experiences that their parents had gone through. Before Mishay was born, LaVonna Solomon had already gone through multiple miscarriages. So when a healthy baby was finally brought into her world, LaVonna was thrilled beyond imagination. This is a photo of her with Mishay as a newborn. Meanwhile, Cassidy's parents, named Celeste and Morn, they had gotten divorced. Their marriage had been rocky due to much of the trauma that they had been dealing with ever since the loss that they faced with their first baby girl. And that also happened before Cassidy was born. So Cassidy and Mishay could totally relate to each other. Right away, Mishay sort of became the bigger sister she never had. They would have lunch together every day, they would hang out all the time, they would take all these selfie photos together that they would show to all their friends and family, and everybody would be like, oh my god, you two totally look like twins. And then 1 month later, everything changed. Their friendship and their entire worlds would be turned upside down. One day in class, Mishay was summoned by a teacher and taken to an empty room with two social workers. As they explained the reason for being there, she wasn't allowed to talk to anyone, she couldn't even have any contact with her parents. They immediately took her to a DNA exam facility. They were examining the striking resemblance between the two young women after Cassidy's father Morn had shown one of their photos to the police. Back on April 28, 1997, Celeste gave birth to her first child at a hospital in Cape Town. She and Morn named her Zephany. 3 days later, while Celeste was still in the bed napping and resting, someone dressed as a nurse came and took the newborn away, and Zephany was never seen again. Until now, Mishay's DNA test came back positive for a direct biological match to Cassidy and her family, meaning they literally were sisters, and that Celeste and Morn were her real mother and father. Mishay Solomon was Zephany Nurse. LaVonna Solomon was indicted as a kidnapper who posed as hospital staff 17 years earlier. She was sentenced to a decade in prison following her prosecution and conviction. Her husband, Michael Solomon, didn't face any charges. Investigators couldn't find any evidence that he was aware of the crime. They concluded that he raised Mishay, believing that she was his biological daughter. Mishay had just begun her senior year of high school when the whole world discovered that she was actually Zephany. By her own request, she remained under the care of the state in the months after this case broke. She spent very little time with her biological family, and she told the press that this whole ordeal was just very confusing for her, and that she didn't want to be put in a position to have to choose between the two families. To this day, Zephany still maintains a relationship with the woman and man who raised her. This is Michael with Zephany's daughter on their way to go visit LaVonna in prison. As for the Nurse family, Zephany has faced many challenges over the years, trying to adjust and trying to build a relationship with her biological parents and siblings. As they all said in one of the many media appearances they made together, it's going to be a lifelong healing process for everyone involved.